Hey everyone, welcome to the UNSECURITY podcast. This is episode 80. The date is May 18th, 2020, and I'm Evan Francine. With me today is my co-host, Brad Nye. Good morning, Brad.
Morning, Evan.
How are you?
Good.
Am I digitizing anymore?
No, you're all good now.
Okay, we'll give it time.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if that lasts the whole show.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Seems like, we were just talking Microsoft. Seems like Microsoft were almost back to having to reboot once a day.
Yeah, great. Well, everything's cyclical, right?
Just fat applications everywhere.
Yeah.
Remember when PDF used to be, speaking of that, do you remember when PDF used to be just a document format?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to get PDF reader, it's how big is it?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't even know.
I don't know either. It's hundreds of megabytes, I'm sure.
Yeah. And you have to download like 3 other things and then check the box that you don't want it to install.
Right. Yeah, I don't want the Ask toolbar, please.
I can't tell you how many incidents we've seen that have Ask Toolbar making suspicious calls. There's a big
Well, Adobe writes really, really good secure software. That's what I'm told.
yeah.
All right. We got a good show planned today. There's this thing called zero trust that people are talking about. It's pretty popular, and I thought it'd be good for you and I to discuss it. Personally, I think I've received quite a few questions about it. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
But like always, before we get to that, let's, before we dig in, let's catch up, man. I love catching up with you and seeing how you're doing. What are some of the highlights you have from last week and maybe this weekend?
Yeah. Last week work, it was good. Just a bunch of stuff going on. It was insane. I think we had 6 IR triage, like triage come in like the last, Wednesday afternoon through Friday. It was just like, are you what? Wait, which one? What, are
In
you
like
kidding
two
me?
and a half days, you had 6
Yeah.
hours come in.
Well, the initial triage, right? The initial request for we think something is going on. We'll see how many of those actually turn into them wanting to do something, but they were it was not good. Many of them were really really bad. Like
Wow. And what's the new guy's name?
Corey,
Corey.
yeah, trial
Yeah.
by fire.
Yeah. Was he on the Friday? Were you in the Friday online happy hour?
No,
Okay. Because I think I saw him, but I jumped in for like 5 minutes. I was on my way. My daughter and I were going to go on a motorcycle ride. So it's like, oh crap, that's right. We got the happy hour. So I jumped in. Hey, and there was only like 4 people left. And I was like, all right, gotta go.
that's funny. No, yeah, I haven't done those. I don't know. I have enough Zoom
Chill,
meetings.
Brad, come on.
I know. I'm so fried by Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Um,
Grab
but
yourself a whiskey, sit down, and
right, no, but yeah, that was good. Did a bunch of CMMC stuff. Um,
oh yeah.
Working on that, and then this weekend did some. It rained. It was insane.
Oh, I
Uh,
hated the rain.
so I did some painting around the house, but the most exciting thing was I bought a bicycle. I used to do a bunch of biking, like long, the 150-mile 2 day, two
What?
things. Yeah, and I haven't done it for a while. And I sold my bike when we moved up here, and I was like, all right, now that I'm not getting out of the house and like exercising, or at least, you know, doing that, uh, I'm buying a bike again. So pretty excited about that. That I got that on Saturday morning. So I
You
did a
got a new
quick.
bike.
What's that?
You got a new bike.
Yeah. So my daughters are excited because they've been doing just rides around the neighborhood between classes and stuff. And they've been bugging me to get one too because they're like, we should go. So I'm excited. That'll be fun.
That's cool. So you remember Surge?
Hmm.
Yeah, he was on our podcast a few podcasts ago. He's a
Yeah.
big biker guy too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. It's like I said, it's been a while since I did that, but it's been at
You
least.
wear tight shorts and stuff too.
So I have
It's okay if you do. I'm not going to give you crap.
I have worn those. However, what I wear is they're like basically regular looking shorts that have the padding built in. So they're not like super tight, but they just look like normal shorts. But the shirt for sure with the pockets in the back for all your stuff and
That's cool, man.
yeah.
The there's a lot of bikers out on County Road 10. Do you see those guys all the time?
Mm-mm. I've seen a bunch on 5 and 11.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I've seen packs of them. So yeah, we'll see.
Cool, man.
There's a bunch of trails and stuff out here too. So I got like a hybrid, a nice hybrid, so I can do like the gravel trails or road bike, and yeah,
Cool. Did
I'm
you go to
excited.
Eric's bike shop to get it or?
No, actually, it was Valley Bike and Ski over in Apple Valley.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I was surprised like how hard it was to find a bike, and I talked to the guys, and they're like, "Yeah, supply chain is completely disrupted. If they don't have it, they're saying, they're getting a small trickle, but it's basically what's in stock is what they're expecting for the next 2 to 3 months. Anything that comes in is just a bonus."
Wow.
I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and get that right now then.
Wow.
Exactly what I was looking for. So,
Well, that's cool. What else is new?
uh, just doing stuff and dealing with COVID-19 and
Doing stuff and things.
yeah, I was going to smoke ribs this weekend and we got like 3.5 inches of rain over the weekend. So that didn't happen.
Right. Yeah. Last week for me was kind of crazy. We had a bunch of stuff going on, man. Some stuff for the state with the state of Minnesota, some stuff with the state of New Mexico. That's pretty cool. NASCIO, the National Association of State CIOs. Um,
That's
yeah,
very cool. We talked to New Mexico last year and they just didn't have budget for doing some projects and stuff. It kind of flittered out, but they seemed like to get it. So that's good. It's not surprising that they're engaging again.
yeah, and I think we're going to work on a proof of concept with them for third-party information security risk management.
Nice.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. We did the Security S show. This is not an explicit show, so we don't say swear words usually, but it's the security four-letter word, starts with an S, ends in a T. The security that word show we did Thursday night.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It was pretty cool, man. It's just good to get stuff off your chest, you know. One of the viewers pointed something out to me. I want to do that show like not as FRSecure or
Right.
Security Studio CEO, and I made that known on the video, but I was wearing my FRSecure sweatshirt.
Oh,
So, oops.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it didn't get too out of hand. I mean, I think the topics for this week is the ones I proposed to the guys, are maybe a little more controversial. So I'll need to make sure I don't wear that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. But we don't need you to go like full Elon Musk and like get kicked from the
No,
company.
although, I do have some respect for that guy. I like how he, marches to the beat of his own drum. Whether you agree with him or not,
Yeah,
crazy people are crazy, but I don't know. I think I'm crazy, some days. So
it's true.
yeah. What else we do? Oh, went on a bike ride, motorcycle. I ride bikes with motors.
Yeah,
Um,
it does go a little faster.
well, and yeah, probably not as good for you, physically as, yours. That was good. Went out to a place, Glencoe. You know where Glencoe is.
Hmm.
Went out there and found a little cafe that was doing, takeout only.
Okay.
It was kind of cool to go to a small town, drop some money and, help out a little bit.
Yeah.
What else? Saturday, Joe came over.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, did a bunch of work on the garage.
This was his payback for you helping him with electrical.
Yeah, yeah. But it's cool to work with your son, do stuff
Yeah.
like that. So you'll have those days coming up,
Yeah.
not probably not too long. Well, you probably have kids that are already helping you out, but when they leave the house and then come back to help out, it's kind of special.
Yeah. They want to help out, and
Yeah.
it's a little different though for
Right.
the age range. I'm
Right.
gonna guess Joe's probably a little bit more helpful than
Yeah.
Zach when it comes to like painting or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
My garage is very organized now. Um, so I made the first pass. So what I do is start at one end of the garage and kind of work my way around it.
Hmm.
Kind of the first pass. So everything's organized and cleaned up and, looking really nice. Now I'm going to go back and probably insulate and sheetrock
Mm.
the walls.
Ugh.
Right.
I, I did all that in the basement. Sheetrocking sucks. I,
Well,
I,
I think it sucks more in the basement. It's easy in the garage because, right, I back my truck up, pull the
uh,
cleats right off, and throw them right up. Man, it's not going to be hard at all.
yeah. Still, the taping and mudding and lining it all up.
That's another thing. I mean, in your basement, you want it to look really nice. In the garage, I may not even tape it. I may
Eh,
just, we'll see how it
that's
looks.
true. Yeah, you're just doing it for the insulation benefits.
Yeah, and it does look a little more clean, a little more finished. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe that'll be the third pass around the garages. Will be taping and mudding and painting. I don't know.
Yeah. Ugh.
Hmm. Yeah, so that was the weekend, and you're right, man. It was rainy.
It was windy and cold. It was raw.
Yeah, it's supposed to be nice this week. I heard Wednesday maybe 83. I think 84.
Yeah, like upper 70s, low 80s, like towards the end of the week. It's gonna be nice.
You know what it means when it gets above 80?
No work,
No pants.
no pants.
So close.
So close.
Yep. All right. Well, good. Uh, what else we talk about last?
I'm trying to.
I don't know. Yeah, last week was crazy. The unsecurity or no, the daily insanity check-ins are still going strong. You should drop in once in a
I
while.
know. I've had like meetings every day. Like
I
it's
know.
like,
I'm
well,
partially giving you crap, partially because I think that they miss you.
I actually should be able to, well, knock on wood, join tomorrow, third. Well, maybe the rest of the week. Not today, but right as of right now, I don't have anything else on my calendar. By the end of the day, that is likely to change.
Right. Yeah,
But
you get slammed with 6 IRs today.
we had, yeah, one of them, they had global admin for their O365, and the attacker had set up MFA.
Locked them out.
No, but they didn't know. Yeah, you can't get it back. So I was like,
Man,
I don't know what's going to happen with that one, but
the basics, the basics.
well, the attacker had the basics. They put MFA in place.
Right. Good job. All right. Well, speaking of basics, the zero trust thing,
Yeah.
I want to get your perspective on that. I know I have mine. I know you and I don't think you and I have ever talked about zero trust together.
Not maybe in passing,
Right. So
but
it'd be fun to, hash it out a little bit. A simple Google search, right? If you just
mhm.
type in your browser, Google search zero trust, turns up about 691 million results. So narrow it down a little bit, put quotes around zero trust, and you get 1.94 million results. So clearly, a lot of people seem to know what zero trust means. And some of the returns I thought were sort of interesting. Page one, top, number one, a VMware link. And it's always ads now. Do you remember when Google didn't have ads at the top? It was like
Yeah.
you got real results.
Mm-hmm.
Son of a pisses me off, man.
Yeah.
Because if I'm Googling something and I just want research, I just want to do something. I don't want to buy anything. Damn it,
Right.
Every time I Google something doesn't mean I want to buy something.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, right. Frustrating though, because I do remember those days. I think some of the younger generation probably doesn't remember.
Yeah. Yeah. But back when it was just the search engine, it was
Yeah,
game changing at the time.
right. Number one, VMware Link tops the list. Enables, and this is the title, enable zero trust security. Move to a new security model. You click the link. It's gated content, which means you have to register for something. And you register for a white paper that's titled "To Enable Zero Trust, Rethink Your Firewall Strategy."
Okay.
Yep. Alrighty then. Good. So we're already getting off on that kind of foot. Sounds good. The next one down was an ad from Okta. And I didn't spell Okta correctly, but in my show notes, but that's kind of cool anyway. So the title is Getting Started with Zero Trust, Never Trust, Always Verify. That's also gated content, a white paper titled Getting Started with Zero Trust, Never Trust, Always Verify.
Okay.
Yep.
That pretty well sums up what what it is.
Right. Now I unless I really, really, really want something, I never sign up for those white papers.
Yeah. 10-minute email.
Right. So fight the urge because what happens, obviously that gated content, you're going to now be on their mail list and
Yeah.
be marketed to. So that was the second one. The third one was from a company called Guardicore, which I never heard of before. Have you ever heard of Guardicore?
Mm-mm.
Well, I guess there's a company called Guardicore. The title of this, search result is Zero Trust, what it means, how to get there, guardicore.com. So I never heard of those guys before. Click the link, more gated content. So the top three results are all gated. White paper titled Zero Trust, what it means and how to get there faster.
Oh boy.
Yep. Give me my easy button. It almost sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then the fourth one, also an ad from Appgate, APPGATE. The quote or the title for that search result is "Become a Zero Trust Hero."
Ooh.
Right? Who doesn't want to be a hero? Do you get a cape?
No, never a cape. When you watch The Incredibles, never get it. No, never get a cape.
I would give them my name, email address, phone number, and mailing address if they gave me a cape. But they didn't. All right. So become a zero trust hero, invisibility, strength, and speed.
Well, there you go.
All right. So those are your top four results in the Google search. And then you get, a bunch of normal search results. And the titles are all fairly similar, at least first page. What is zero trust? A model for more effective security. What is zero trust? Zero trust security. What's a zero trust network, et cetera, et cetera. The fact that there are so many what is zero trust search returns gives me a hint that people are confused.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that based on the questions and comments that I've gotten.
Yeah. So I think it's a good topic for us to dig in a little bit, tackle it. So, what is zero trust? What's in your opinion? What is it? I'm guessing it's real similar to mine.
Yeah, so the way I understand it and see it is basically it's authenticate before anything is given at any time, right? Like you can't get anywhere on your network. You can't do anything without some form of that authentication occurring.
Yeah. And I always like zero trust is I like to sum it up with it's default deny.
Yeah.
Everything. Everything default deny. So I don't trust anything. I'm a man on an island by himself. I'm not letting anybody, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm not going to share anything with anybody. I'm not going to probably even look at you, right? Until there's some level of trust established.
Right. Yeah.
And you and I have done the trust thing enough in applications and teaching, right?
It-
The authentication is paramount to trust, right?
right.
Identify is one thing, followed by authentication. So there's my trust. So, I mean, do you agree with that? Do you think zero trust is default deny? Default deny on traffic, default deny on
Yeah. I,
applications, default deny on everything.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Default deny until you've got valid authentication. Yeah.
And one of the things I read an article last week, kind of a small segue, about people now are sort of claiming, and they've done this for a while, that whitelist, blacklist, we used to use those words, that those are racist terms now.
Yeah. I saw that.
When does intent on the use of the term come into play on racism? You know what I mean? If I just use a word,
I know
there's no intent behind it at all. I don't even think race at all.
I,
That's a
yeah,
whole other topic, isn't it?
I know. Yes, it is.
There's all kinds of words that I use all the time, and I don't consider myself at all to be, well, I mean, if you want to be like honest, everybody is racist to some extent.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's how you leverage it, and that's just, we're herd people, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a totally different like rabbit hole we could go down.
Yeah, maybe we'll save that for the Security S show on Thursday.
Yeah. But
Yeah. So you can't use whitelist and blacklist anymore, at least without not, offending some people.
well, yeah, and until we get a better, what's the new? There's no universal accepted replacement, so that's kind of the problem we're stuck in right now.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Zero trust, like I get the question all the time: should we go and do this? Should we buy this? And it's like, well, do you know what your assets are?
There you
Have
go.
you been able to do application whitelisting? No. Do you have ingress egress filtering in place and that, like you said, deny by default on your firewall? No. Why the hell are you going to spend money if you're not doing those things that are like you could do without purchasing anything? Like
Right.
start with basics. And I like zero trust. I think it's a good concept. I just don't think most companies are anywhere close to being in a situation where they're going to be able to actually use it.
Well, and so that brings up another thing, right? Zero trust isn't new.
Mm-mm.
We just slapped a new name, a new marketing name onto something that's always been in existence. We've always been default deny is more secure than,
Right.
the traditional, I guess, blacklist or default accept.
Open to everything.
Right.
But yeah.
IT people, we've always been more, prone to availability, right? So availability, as long as it works, right, then management's going to be happy. When they click the link, does it actually work? Great. But default deny is not anything new. It's just
No.
like the cloud, a few years ago, cloud came out, right? Cloud this, cloud that. And most of us who are networking people are like, what the hell? We've been doing the cloud forever.
Right.
This isn't anything new.
We've had a private cloud with our own storage and VM farm. It's basically what we're doing.
Exactly. So, and I think of zero trust the same way. It is a good thing. It's always been a good thing. It's always been mostly unattainable for
Yeah.
most organizations because they didn't start this way. If you really wanted to do zero trust, right, you'd have to start with the zero trust model. Trying
Right.
to take an existing open network, say like an open flat network, or even a network that's segmented at layer 3, Try to take that to a zero trust model.
Uh, it's, I mean, I know I've worked on, no, we didn't call it zero trust, right? It was probably
You
around
weren't
the time that,
you weren't trying to sell anything.
well, it was right, probably right around the time that it became a thing. So it hadn't really pushed, but yeah, we would like monitor for 6 months, and if it didn't get hit, we turned it off. And then, gosh, guess what? 3 months later, that one activity they do once a year that needs that specific port comes up, and it's almost impossible to do after the fact, even when like it's a push to actually do it, and you have support from the organization to do it.
Right. Well, that's the frustrating part because you like here's CSO magazine. Uh, it's today's top story. This is written in January of 2018, so it is a couple of years old. But the subtitle is "The Technologies That Support Zero Trust Are Moving into the Mainstream." It's like you always had the damn technologies to do zero trust.
Right.
Did you have an access control list? Did you have a firewall?
Right.
Did you have, you know, and we had this, get kind of sort of gets under my skin sometimes because I'm reminded of, my work on the Target breach. Central to that was, were they PCI compliant?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I think that was version 3, maybe, of the PCI DSS, 3.0, 3.1, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And in the standard was network segmentation. That's the word they used, network segmentation. And so what people read this to be was, well, if I put in a VLAN, that segments the network.
Yeah. I mean, technically
Right.
correct.
And so they would get sign off from some QSAs, in their PCI compliance because they had put layer 3 in the letter. And this is, classic letter of the law versus intent of the law, right?
Yeah.
Letter of the law said segmentation. Well, I've got layer 3 segmentation. The intent of that law, the intent was actually isolation,
Right.
which means, that you default deny, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we've always had these technologies. We've always had these things. And I'm not saying we haven't progressed. We don't have new, cooler technologies. We don't have, like microsegmentation is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the multi-factor authentication things are cool. Or some of the orchestration stuff is cool. But if I don't understand the basics, I don't even understand what I'm trying to do with this stuff, who gives a crap? They'll sell it to you,
Yeah.
but
And I'm sure it's real cheap.
right,
And the problem is, if you don't have those basics mastered, you're going to put zero trust in. It's not going to be done properly. And then you're going to have this false sense of security and then be like, how did this happen?
right, right. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what management, and you can't blame management because that's what they're told.
Right.
I'm justifying budget because of these reasons, right? I need this zero trust thing for these reasons. And this the management's like, oh, okay, that seems reasonable. We should have that for those reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in, it's not doing those reasons, or some of the reasons that you didn't even think of exist, that, maybe you should have,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so then when it does happen in management, we've seen it happen so many times in incident response, management's like, I thought we were protected against this. It's
Right.
like, you could have been if it had been configured correctly, maybe.
Like you say that, like those people that thought they were doing the right thing, right? Hey, I gave, as a CEO, I gave budget, I gave authority, I gave the financial support for security, and we were completely open. And you feel bad for them because those are the people that seem to want to be doing the right thing. And that's, I don't, that does that reflect on their IT team? Were they poor? Was it the whatever software that was sold to them with this big promise? Should that company get named, right? Like those things piss you off because there's so many companies that don't get that support, and then when they get it, and it still happens because it's not put in properly, they don't have the basics in place.
Right.
It's that bugs me.
Well, just thinking of the term, so the term came from, it was a Forrester and an
Mm-hmm.
analyst who originally came up with the term zero trust. And there's a number of things I don't like about the word. One, I don't think it's ever fully 100% attainable.
Yeah, like I said, unless you're starting completely from scratch.
And even then, man, I mean, zero trust, that means, yeah, anyway. But it also, anytime you use the definitive words in our industry, like zero
Yeah,
or guaranteed or, eliminated or, things like that, it almost implies like if I put in zero trust, there's no risk. I've,
right.
I've closed it up. So I don't like that.
No.
For anybody who reads that into it,
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it feels markety, gimmicky.
right,
Like the concept is good, but it's like you said, this is what we've been trying to get to forever.
right. What we didn't need was another word for it,
Right.
right? What we needed was better applications of it. And so if I go get some, Palo Alto's, micro segmentation and put it into my network,
Right.
have I now implemented zero trust? The answer is no. There's still more things, right?
Right.
Um, so, that's the part that frustrates me too about zero trust is there's just so much more to it than I think people realize because, you have hardware, software, data, right? Take something like data. If I'm ever going to be able to implement zero trust, I'm going to need to know where all my data is, where all my data goes, who's authorized to have my data, who's not authorized to have my data.
All classification.
Right.
Nobody has. Well,
Data,
very
data flow diagrams, out
right.
in the zoo. And those data flow diagrams are going to look like spaghetti. I mean, they're going to look terrible if I haven't done proper network segmentation and isolation. So I haven't put them in proper containers and places on the network. So if that hasn't happened, making sense of your data flow diagram spaghetti is
Yeah. Yeah. I, I don't know how people, like, based on what I've seen the last, work and then just doing the consulting side of it. I mean, I don't know if I even could count five that would be at a point of, I think they would be successful at doing this.
well, yeah, especially, if you didn't start there, there's been times, I was working with one large organization and another, you know, I guess related word that, for zero trust is, adversary obstruction.
Mm-hmm.
Where zero trust kind of came from was they said the traditional, and it's never been traditional unless you never took security seriously, the crunchy shell GUI center sort of approach to security.
Right.
Some people call that the traditional approach, it's traditional maybe for somebody who's dumb at security. I mean, that should have never been a traditional approach. We should have always taken the approach that, assume that somebody is in the network already. What can they get to? Can we make it difficult enough as they transition or pivot through the network to, that they'll be loud enough that we can identify them earlier, detect them earlier, stop
Yeah.
them.
Like, so I was just talking to a company last week on their vulnerability scan results, just because with the new version and all that, they had questions on their score and stuff. And they had a couple of older boxes that they could not turn off. They had business critical applications that there was not a replacement for, and they were working towards figuring it out. But until then, right, you got to be in business.
Right.
And I was like, well, those are going to still hit you. There's nothing we can do, right? There's known exploits. It's a But what can you do?
Right.
Segment it, isolate it. Only the people that absolutely need access to it can hit it, and only on the ports that are absolutely required.
Right.
Put additional logging in place. Do these things. It, those don't cost anything extra to do.
Well,
It's a
they've always,
simple concept.
right. And they've always been good security concepts, right? We've called that defense in depth,
Yeah.
called that need to know. I mean, these are all concepts that are not new. We bundle them, some of them together into this word or this term called zero trust. And I think in some cases it causes confusion.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly improves sales, but that's not good for you, the one who's buying, if you don't know what it is.
Right. And again, I'm gonna go back to it's actually probably worse for many companies that buy zero trust solutions,
Right.
and they're gonna have this false sense of security that, hey, we've got zero trust, we're safe,
Right.
and quit doing some of maybe the other things or being as vigilant because zero
Right.
trust.
Well, right. And zero trust it's not an easy button. That's another thing about, the term zero trust. It almost seems like, oh yeah, I need a zero trust solution, right? Just plug that in and I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
To your point about, being a false sense of security, there's a lot of work that goes into zero trust if you truly want to do it the right way, right?
Oh yeah.
You were with me that week when I was when I
Yeah.
was out east, and this is a company, a pretty large company, lots of applications, lots of users, and
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to get to this thing called, it's more adversary obstruction.
Right.
Um,
But
Zero trust, it's part of zero trust.
right.
And, something as simple as, seemingly simple, where are your data flow diagrams? What data is going where? What applications are in scope? What applications are not?
Mm-hmm.
And that took months
Yeah. And
just for that.
that is not a company. They're on top of things. They've got a really good security and IT team over there.
They really do. Yeah.
And yeah, data flow diagrams suck.
Right. But it,
Nobody has it because you have to map your data.
well,
So
it
you got to
sucks
figure out what.
afterwards. It
But
sucks
that.
more afterwards than it does if you did it at the beginning.
Oh yeah. Well, nobody. But I don't know if I've ever. I'm trying to think if I've ever gone in and had that opportunity to maybe some new systems where that would be the case. But usually in IT or in security, you're inheriting something that's been around forever, right? It just doesn't happen for the most part.
Well, and that's what it comes down to. So it comes down to eventually it was, and I kind of warned them that this was probably going to be the thing. At what point is it easier just to start over?
Mm-hmm.
Starting over, oh my God, that's a lot of work. Well, so is what we're trying to do. Maybe it makes sense to build a parallel environment where you actually started with security at the core, at the foundation, where you've implemented proper network segmentation, isolation. You understand data flows. You understand where your applications are. I mean,
Yeah.
and then
And
migrate people over.
well, here's the problem with that. I've got personal experience in that. We had a domain that was just badly broken. It had been just poorly managed. Like they just turned off Exchange servers when they were done. They just turned off domain controllers when they're done. They didn't demote them or uninstall like you were supposed to. So like trying to upgrade Exchange to a new version took 9 months because every time we would run it, we'd run into another thing. We had to go in and manually clean. Right? It was a nightmare. So we said, look, we're going to spend years trying to get this clean, or we can do it correctly and side by side. And we stood up the new domain, had proper subdomains set up for each of the different areas that needed it. We had IT all moved over, and then the CIO left. The new one came in and said, that's no longer a priority. And so I didn't stay much longer beyond after that. But for, multiple reasons,
Yeah.
but now you're stuck with a half and half situation,
Yeah.
which is even worse
Well,
because,
it's a house of cards, man.
yeah, but it's like, we'll just do it the right way. Change of leadership, we're not doing that anymore. Now now I'm managing two.
Well, but in that case, you did the right thing. If you, I mean, excuse me, I was going to use a bad word. If you have crappy leadership, leave.
Yeah.
Why would I subject myself to that? Why would I, ever? There's so many good job opportunities for people who do things right and do things right the first time. One of the things that I'm really thankful for my own father when he raised me, I'm a Marine Corps son, right? And one of the things that's drilled into you over and over and over again is if you're going to do something, do it right.
Yep.
Do
Yeah.
it right from the start. Don't
Take the time to do it right the first time. My grandfather was a Marine, so I'm assuming there's a little bit of that got drilled in there too. So
yeah. So, I mean, if you really want to do zero trust and you have the opportunity to do it from the beginning, to do it right from the start, you implement things that are concepts that we've always understood, things like, defense in depth, things like, segmentation, isolation, things like asset inventory.
yeah.
Why in the hell would I ever plug something? I mean, whatever. I'm not going to get there.
Yeah. But
Frustrating.
yeah, disabling ports that aren't in use,
Mm-hmm.
right? Doing, yeah. There's so many things you can do that are just easy that are all part of that, zero trust, right? I don't know. I like the concept, but it just feels like, I don't know. There's so many things that we could do were lumped in there that people just don't have. The fundamental things that anybody could do with basically anything they currently have. You don't have to buy anything to do asset inventory.
Right. So on the point of zero trust, you and I are both in agreement that it's absolutely wonderful. I mean, zero trust is a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like a lot of good things, it can be used for good and it can be used for bad. If it's being used for bad, meaning selling you something that you don't understand, selling you something as a silver bullet or as an easy button, just implement this thing and it's going to make your security problems go away.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's a bad thing.
Yep.
So, my advice would be to do some research on zero trust. If you have, it's not as easy as you think it is,
No.
but it can be done. I think if you plan properly, if you approach it strategically, certainly if you have the opportunity to build a brand new environment,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. You can build it in right at the beginning. But if you're retrofitting an environment that already exists that wasn't built with security at the core, you're in for a ride, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Good luck.
yeah, well, and it can be done, and I think it should be done. I think you should plan for it. You don't. What I don't want people to do is just like say, yeah, it was a
No.
crappy environment to begin with. We can't get there. No, plan for it, but plan properly, right?
Yeah. Like, yeah, we keep preaching it. Just start taking little chunks,
Yes.
right? Do your asset inventory, do your segmentation, review firewall rules. Can you do better ingress egress traffic filtering, right? Understand where your data is, start mapping it. Just all these things that are tough and a lot of work, but are, I don't want to say simple, but they're just the basics of what you should be doing.
Well, they are simple. I think a lot of times people get the word simple and easy.
Yeah. It's definitely not easy.
No, but it is simple. And you only have to do it once and get into the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you get your hands around it the first time, then change control comes into play, right? Then you start implementing, those things so you keep your hands around it. But I think the people that are the best at security are the people that understand what it is they're trying to secure the best.
Hmm.
So if I'm responsible for securing a network, if I really know that network intimately, I'm going to be better at securing it than you will as somebody who doesn't, right? And vice
Right.
versa. So, and you're going to have to do it eventually anyway, right? So you don't do zero trust and say, well, I don't have to worry about asset inventory now,
Wrong.
right?
Now you spend a bunch of money and you have to do this thing that you before you can use it.
Right. And there are some zero trust technologies that will help you
Hmm.
build your asset inventory, but it's these steps that you need to take before you get into the kind of the full model of things, right?
Right.
So if I want zero trust, what do I need to do? That was one of my questions, in the show notes. I think we covered that. It's master the fundamentals, master the basics.
Hmm.
And I know that some people don't like it. I actually do. I enjoy doing those things because I understand what it is I'm working with.
Like you said, it's simple to do. There's a like, and you get something like a lot of, I think information security is very uh, intangible. Like you don't have a firm result, right? Hey, we've got good security and we can tell this because nothing's happening. That's a hard concept.
Right.
But hey, I now have an asset list. I can tell you what's installed on any machine in the entire on the network.
Right.
I know if there's a vulnerability that comes out that affects something specifically, I can do a query that says, here's where that is and where I need to go to patch. Like you have a result in front of you.
Right. Yeah, totally. Hey, did you ever see that? It just reminded me. Did you ever see my PDR burger?
Yes,
Do you like my PDR burger?
I do.
Okay. Because you brought up another concept as you were kind of talking about that, about prevention, detection, and response, and how those are kind of you have to work together.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, good stuff. Good talk, man. Seriously, I could tell that you and I were both getting a little bit juiced up, and we could talk. And it's not coincidental that this is also something. If you want to tune in on Thursday, one of the next 6 or 7 Thursday nights, we're going to cover this same thing. And it's not going to be as politically correct as you and I have to be.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely want to, it gets you fired up.
Right. And so there'll be some curse words being slung around, I'm sure. And we'll have to invite you on sometime. You can
Yeah.
swear too, but you don't want your kids to watch.
And they watched me watch the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm sure there's nothing that
Right. All right. Well, thanks for your insight. I think you and I see things, the same way, which is cool. Makes it fun to work with you. But then there's also, slight disagreements, but they're all within the same boundary of like, we understand security really well. So
well, and I think the nice thing, ultimately, we want the same goal. Now it's just how we think we should get there is going to differ slightly. And
right.
you don't want to agree with someone 100% of the time. That would be boring.
Yeah, that would be boring. All right. So I think hopefully the listeners have a better, clearer view of what zero trust is and what it means to them. If they have additional questions or comments, reach out, right? The person you don't want to reach out to is somebody who's trying to sell you something.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that I like about us is that we're product agnostic.
Yeah.
You ask me about what zero trust is, I'm not going to try to sell you a firewall.
No.
Right? I will try to figure out, and if you disagree with what my interpretation of zero trust is, then, to our point about disagreement, that's a great opportunity for us both to learn.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Reach out to us, contact us. We'll get to how to do that at the end. Essentially email us at unsecurity@protonmail.com and we'll hook you up. All right, some news stuff. I have 4 news articles that caught my attention last week. I'm not sure where we're at on time right now.
I was gonna say I'm glad you had that first one. I was gonna mention that to you. I was talking with some of the IR guys on that one over the weekend.
Oh yeah, the Art Evil or the
Yeah.
depending on how you want to pronounce that.
I don't know how that law firm survives this.
They're lawyers.
I don't know who would use them.
I was going to say lawyers are like some lawyers, not all. Lawyers, but lawyers are like cockroaches.
Yeah,
They survive nuclear disasters somehow.
they'll come back as a different name.
Right. right.
But
And more resistant to this kind of thing.
yeah, that is a crazy story.
Yeah. So the first one on our news list is from Hack Read, and it's all over the internet, so you can find it in numerous places. But basically, it's these are evil hackers that attacked a law firm, gathered out 756 gigabytes of data.
How do you how do you not notice almost a terabyte of data going off your network?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I guess you don't know how long it's been, right? I guess they could be very slowly doing this over a long period of time. And
I'll do it over a weekend.
but are you not monitoring for like unusual traffic patterns?
I don't know.
That's
No,
the,
obviously not. No, I mean, talk about lack of zero trust, right?
yeah. Well, I think I thought what was hilarious was did you see their initial ransom demand was what $21 million?
And then they doubled it.
And they said the law firm offered to pay like 350,000. And our evil was basically like, F you, $42 million. And
Yeah,
we're gonna start leaking stuff.
yeah, yeah. So the title for this article from HackRead is "Are Evil Hackers Leaks Email Conversation on Trump Amid Ransomware Demand." Uh, another word or another, they're also known as Sodinokibi, which we've tried to say before.
I like our evil.
Yeah, it's easier to say. So the law firm is Grubman, Shire, Micelis, and Sachs. 756 gigabytes worth of data on the 9th of May. Yeah, they originally had the first high profile personalities like Robert De Niro, Lady Gaga, Madonna.
And they were like leaking contracts and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not sure how, yeah, I don't know what the trove of data actually includes. I mean, some of that stuff may not be all that sensitive, but
But that's the thing. Anybody, if I'm a client of theirs and I've had any sort of sensitive legal, I am freaking out right now.
right, right. Certainly if it's an active case too, right?
Oh yeah,
More so if it's an
yeah.
active.
Well, and just what would the embarrassment and what would it be? What would be the impact
Yeah,
to a career?
yeah. I don't know, man. So Friday is when they upped their demands to 42 million.
Yeah, I think that's when I saw it was when that came out. It's like, what?
Yeah. And if there's text now, they Donald Trump isn't a client of theirs, but that doesn't mean that they didn't have conversations and that their clients didn't have conversations or dealings with Donald Trump. So that's the
Mhm.
roundabout, how Trump is kind of pulled into this conversation. Uh, yeah. So the data of the firm's clients will be auctioned off every week on an information exchange available for anyone to buy. Uh, the firm will not be able to get back its data as the attackers control the decryption keys. So this was, a ransomware and a data exfiltration.
Yeah, like why would we? I don't know. Maybe I guess the only way you would pay it is if you don't have backups of your data,
Right.
because they've already said you're not getting it back, and $42 million is absurd. It's a
Right.
lot.
Yeah. Well, and so this is going to lead to a whole bunch of drama too, because there's going to be things that are leaked as
Hmm.
part of this thing that people are just going to assume is real and legit. Because what would stop me as an attacker from dumping some propaganda or some of my own things
Yeah,
intermingled with this data to make somebody look bad?
yeah. It forced the law firm to come out and say that that's not real.
Well, who's going to believe who, right?
Right. That's oh, no, I'm with you.
So this is just a whole bunch of, I mean, talk about an X show here.
I'm so glad we're not working that IR.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what pissed off the attackers, right? Because they did engage somebody to help them recover data and whatever else, and that piss the hackers off. That was another contributing factor from doubling the ransom.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're stuck in this kind of place, there's really nothing much you can do. I guess try to put as much of a positive PR spin on it as you can, but the data's gone. I wouldn't pay the ransom either because that doesn't guarantee you anything other than now you're out 21 or $42 million and they still have the data.
Right.
So I guess, retire maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've been doing a good job saving money and you can just head to an island somewhere where nobody will find you and change your name.
That's
If you're,
what we call it, resume generating event.
yeah, I mean, if you have a last name of Grubman, Shire, Nicholas, or Sachs, maybe, change your name to something else. Yeah, that's a really bad spot to be in. So there's that. The next one I've got is experts reported the hack of several supercomputers across Europe. So this is securityfairs.co, always a good source of pretty good information. The title is Experts Reported the Hack of Several Supercomputers Across Europe. Allegedly, these computers are being hacked for their ability for crypto mining. Right. So Monday, the German BWHPC organization announced that 5 of its supercomputers had to be shut down due to a crypto miner infection. How does a crypto miner infection get onto a supercomputer?
I don't know, but it must be
Yeah.
really effective at crypto mining.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. So the message that the organization published, dear users, due to an IT security incident, the statewide HPC systems, there's 5 of them listed. They're.
What was interesting on this one was did you see the CVE that they think they were kind of speculating was exploited? It was only a 4.4 on CVSS.
Right.
So, it's like,
Yeah.
man,
CVE 2019 15666.
Yeah. And just because it's not a 10 or a critical or whatever doesn't mean it can't be taken advantage of. Patch everything.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's the first time I've heard of a supercomputer getting hacked for crypto mining. I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if it's happened before, but it's the first time I've seen it in the news. But yeah, good point. Takeaway from that is just because, it's not a CVSS of 10 or a 9 doesn't mean it doesn't need to be attended to potentially.
Yeah.
The next one is also from Security Fairs, and we've seen these before. I like these sort of regular updates. It's coronavirus. The title is Coronavirus Themed Attacks, May 10th through May 16th, 2020. Just gives a pretty good synopsis. It's not going to be all inclusive because such a thing won't exist, but I think a very comprehensive, good list of kind of what types of attacks are currently happening. Yeah, it's good stuff. Zeus Sphinx continues to be used in COVID-themed attacks. Crooks continue to use COVID-19 lures, Microsoft warns. Just some really good articles if you're interested in kind of what is new or what's being seen, I guess. The guy who puts it together is Pierluigi Paganini.
I'm gonna let you try that one.
Yeah, some guy from Italy, probably. But good stuff. So, keep your eyes open. I guess the reason why I picked that one is I like to see kind of what's new, if there's anything surprising that stands out. There really wasn't anything for me, but we work in this industry all the time. So,
it's a great resource just to kind of stay up and
understand
what's going on.
Yeah. So keep your eyes open. We knew that this was going to happen from the beginning. And then the last one, which I liked, maybe this is why I was having my issue.
Potentially.
Yeah. So this is from Ars Technica. The title is Chrome Will Soon Block Resource Draining Ads. Here's how to turn it on now. Fed up with crypto jacking ads? Google developers have you covered. It's good. It's a good article about how you can reconfigure or configure Google Chrome to not steal all your resources.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any more than like just a few tabs open, it seems like memory just gets way out of whack, and then you start seeing processors step up. And
yeah, I'm definitely going to be turning that feature on.
Right? Yeah. So if you're a Chrome user, which I think Chrome is by far the most popular, browser in use, read this article and turn it on. Firefox already had that mechanism allegedly in place to
Something similar, yeah.
To block crypto jacking. But it's a flag, Chrome //flags/ pound enable -heavy -add -intervention is the feature that you can turn on.
Done.
So,
easy.
Yep, easy peasy. So go do that if you're a Chrome user, unless you like helping crypto miners. All right, that's it. So never a shortage of things to talk about, for sure. I mean, we could seriously talk hours. We could just do this and not even work.
I mean, somebody would probably complain at some point, but it would be real fun.
Right? I need a hell of a lot more coffee.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's episode 80 of the UNSECURITY podcast. It's just about a wrap. Brad, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah. I was thinking about this, and I'm going to give a shout out to the team, just how well everybody seems to be handling and just taking in stride all suddenly remote and continuing to work and be productive, and taking some initiative when we had customers that were not in that position. Mm-hmm. So we had some open time that things kind of got moved around of like, okay, I've got some time, I'm going to make improvements, I'm going to do these things. So right. It's just so much fun to work with everybody.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I want to give a shout out to the Daily Insanity check-in crew. Just a bunch of really cool people that I really look forward to seeing every day. It's just water cooler talk, right? A half hour mm-hmm. each day. It's like getting around the virtual water cooler and just shooting the breeze. And sometimes somebody's got something more substantial, but shout out to that whole crew. One person that stands out in particular in that crew for some reason right now in my top of my mind is Richie. Richie's pretty sweet, man. He's a cool guy. Teaches yoga and all this other stuff, and he's a hacker too. He just doesn't come off that way, maybe initially, but he is. All right, can't say enough thanks to our listeners. Crazy, how I guess we run into you all over the place in emails, sometimes on social media, sometimes in person even.
It's so weird to have people come up and be like, I love listening to you guys. I was like, real? What? Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Right? It is cool. Stay safe, please. This week, let us know how we can help you. Both Brad and I do this because we do love helping people. So send things to us by email at unsecurity@protonmail.com. If you're the social type, socialize with us on Twitter. I'm at Evan Francine and Brad's at Brad Nye, Nigh. Thinking about coming to the Hangout for the Daily Insanity Check-In. If you need some support or just want to talk or just want to meet new people, whatever you want to do, you can always follow them on Twitter as well. And that's at InsanityIn. So IN, Sanity, IN. There you go. Have a great week.